So welcome back. This is the portion of the conflict management course where we talk about the TKI. Basically, when we talk about the TKI, we talk about four quadrants. And if you know the TKI, you know there's four different ways we handle conflict. We talk about conflict, we talk about competing, we talk about collaborating, we talk about people who avoid, and we talk about people who accommodate. And somewhere in the middle of all these things, we have compromise. So what we know about the TKI is based on your environment, based on the situation, your ability to handle conflict can change. If I get served with a lawsuit, I may not want to collaborate. I might not want to avoid. I might have to compete. I might have to go and get an attorney and litigate. It might not be my natural way of doing things, but it's certainly the way that I'm going to have to. It's one of those fight or flight things. So obviously what you just learned is if your ability to handle conflict is changing, you're going to need to figure out, set the environment, set the tone, set the manner in which you're speaking. So the purpose of this course is to understand there's different ways of resolving conflict, and if your attempt is to minimize conflict, you're not certainly trying to pacify the other person, but you're trying to set the right environment for success. So you're avoiding a high conflict situation, and you're moving to something where you feel a little bit more in control, where you can actually start collaborating, you can start negotiating, and moving away from the court system. So that's the goal, and so what we're going to now is talk about some skill sets to get you from point A to point B. But before we go into all that, I want you to take the questionnaire about how you just typically resolve conflict, and just be honest with the assessment, and that way you can get a baseline. And you say, you know what, I'm typically a competitive person. That's the nature of who I am, and I like to compete. Okay, and that's great. But you're going to have to understand if that's the nature of your person, if you're trying to co-parent, you're going to have to ease up a little bit, and you're going to have to figure out ways to work with the other person so your kids can have a better life, you can have a better life, and your finances won't be totally destroyed by constantly running back to court to prove that you're right. Other ways to handle it, which will show. Likewise, if you're someone who collaborates, you're not going to do so great in the legal system because you're going to want to collaborate, you're going to work through things. It's not what the court system's for. So you're going to have to figure out a way to deal with someone who might be a little bit more high conflict than you, to pull them back and get them to understand your position. Remember, listen, understand, respond. And if you can do that, then you're getting them into a different quadrant. So instead of being in that conflict where you're not really comfortable with being, you're in your natural realm. So understand the TKI, understand your natural way of handling conflict, but also understand that the ways that we're addressing the types of communication shift the level of the manner, I guess would be a better way, the manner in which you're resolving the conflict. Okay, so that's what we're trying to accomplish here, and let's get to it.